Well, firstly, let me say that as I put this little book down, that this was a joint authorship of 5 authors, including myself. I'm humbled to have been part. That is a project of AFSA. As I said again, AFSA is the Alliance for Food Sovereignty for Africa. It's an alliance of people who would like to work together with different farmer movements, women movements, youth movements, growing different aspects of food to ensure that the foods that we eat are healthy, yeah, and that these foods are good for our health. In 2020, at the beginning, we set out with a team of my colleagues, 4 of us, John Wilson, Professor Cecilia Onyango, and my colleague from Ghana, Peter Gabbles, to write this book, plus other team members who were coming in to provide input. The intention was to write a book about organic agroecological nutrition and its benefits over conventional nutrition. But guess what happened? COVID happened. It wasn't planned. Boom. So we said, wait a minute, COVID is here, and we saw, and listen to this, WHO came up with guidelines. We respect WHO, we listen to them, and we appreciate them as a voice of authority. But, in my view, as a public health practitioner of wide experience, who had the opportunity of being in top institutions like Johns Hopkins, Harvard, London School, I noted one major weakness or omission. WHO started with, of course, to break transmission, wear a mask, which you're doing very well doing. I'm not doing one, and I'll explain to you why I'm not doing it, because I'm in my own compound and other reasons. Secondly, keep distance, reduce transmission, and then, of course, sanitize, wash your hands to reduce infection. But as a public health practitioner who's trained in nutrition, I asked myself, what about nutrition? Shouldn't WHO have begun with what actually weakens the body to the extent that if all these don't work and you get infected with COVID, you reduce the risk of the infection becoming a disease? Let me explain. This is a very deep epidemiological concept. There is a difference between having an infection of COVID, which you can only tell by testing, as I said earlier on, and having disease manifestations of COVID. When COVID visits and interacts with your body can respond, if the immune system is strong from the foods you're eating, to actually neutralize the virus without showing any symptomatology. That's very good. What happens? Develop antibodies, you go around infecting a few other people, they also develop antibodies. You, as I said earlier on, you build what one would call a herd immunity. It's good. Many diseases come like that. The flu that comes on from time to time. From time immemorial, nature manages viruses of the respiratory system in that context. Yeah? But we noted that WHO, for some reason that I can't explain, that I want to believe has to do with influence from big pharma, with all due respect, and the desire, perhaps, to then provide vaccines as the only solution. I respect vaccines, I appreciate vaccines, but what was forgotten was that most of those people who get infected with COVID-19 recover. Why do they recover? They recover because their body's immune system is able to interface with the COVID virus and create natural antibodies, aka natural vaccine, that makes sure that you're able to proceed with your life without having the symptoms of disease of COVID-19. Extremely important for people to understand. What is going to save most of the world is not the vaccines that we are now almost being forced to have, that have side effects that may have, which we don't quite know the extent. It is the integrity of your immune system. That integrity of your immune system to fight not just COVID virus, but also to allow you to displace other diseases that may be visited upon you, is what made us write this book and explain in simple language as much as possible using diagrams that this is how COVID-19 is transmitted, and this is how food, especially diverse, indigenous, traditional, local African foods, have nutrients within themselves that when you consume the food, they enable the integrity of your gut to strengthen your immune system to the extent that you are able to fight the virus. And hence the reason why, as we market this book as a tool, as part of the package to address what is still running right now as COVID-19, as part of one way, not just the only way, of people understanding that the food that they are eating, that they are consuming, that is safe, that is not grown with chemicals and fertilizers that are synthetic, that are of residues that affect your gut. This is a simple and yet very powerful message that we'd like to transmit to policymakers, everyone within the African continent, from Mali to Ghana to Dar es Salaam to South Africa to Egypt to everywhere, that the savior of the African peoples to date, because you know the statistics, is because of the foods that we have been eating, the exposure to the sunshine, the rich amount of zinc that is in our bodies. And these are, of course, nutritional facts that are not questionable. They are published, they are available, they are indisputable. And that this information, gentlemen, needs to be disseminated, needs to be in the hands of the farmers who are growing the food. The consumers need to be aware that even as we use masks, which is okay, keep distance, wash our hands, we also need to consume foods that will enable us to put what many of us have called the inner mask. Wear your inner mask first, and then wear the outer mask. And Eric, I want to summarize by saying, indeed, the inner mask is available to us locally, is affordable, is available, is accessible, is acceptable, because these are the foods that we have been consuming from the days of our forefathers. So really, I want to thank you for your time and the opportunity to share, and that we will have other opportunities perhaps to engage again with yourselves and members of the Fourth Estate, an opportunity for us to sit and debate and discuss, bring in those who don't believe that this approach is useful, so that our intention is to achieve those four challenges of reducing disease, including NCDs, protecting our biodiversity, our seeds integrity, mitigating climate change, and of course eventually also creating jobs with value addition, growing food organically, agroecologically. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Thank you for asking that very, very all-important question, Eric. Why it's more important is that knowledge is only as good as it's used, and is only as good as it's available in a manner that is simple, easy to understand among the different stakeholders and among the different audiences. We want this message, this good message of the inner mask of our traditional foods, the variety and diversity of safe food grown without agrochemicals, reaching out to all the stakeholders, not just the policymakers, which you're going to have a process of a program whereby we will engage different levels of policymakers, but more importantly, those who grow the food and those who consume the food at a local level. How do we intend to do that? Of course, working through AFSA, the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa, which has its headquarters here in Kampala. We intend to engage the different memberships. AFSA has memberships of different people. Ogamu, that's the association that is in charge of organic foods in Uganda. People like Pelham, and other organizations that have an interest in safe, healthy foods within the agricultural sector, within the health sector, and of course within education sector, religious leaders, different development organizations which are involved in the agri-health business. We want to engage with them. We want to engage the Fourth Estate. We want to go to TV. We want to engage different media. We want to engage print media. We want to engage those of you who are in TV. We want to engage social media so that we are all working together to ensure that different stakeholders have this information on how not only to improve their health, but to improve incomes, create youth employment, protect our soils, our seeds, mitigate climate change, and ensure that each one achieves a high quality of life.